Hi, I'm Gary White for Central Kentucky Television. I'm here with Karina Buckman. We're at the Washington County Extension Office. And today we're going to make blueberry French toast bake,
Yes.
which actually sounds delicious.
It does, doesn't it? That's why I picked it.
Exactly.
I want the leftovers.
Yeah, exactly. And this is a plated up recipe?
Yes. As always, these are Kentucky Proud plated up recipes. So it has the recipe on the front, and then it always has some information on the back. So this information is about Kentucky blueberries. So if you want a copy, feel free to stop by. We have plenty.
Absolutely. And also, an interesting thing with the blueberries there, recently we had the Green Festival in Springfield, and there's actually people locally who are raising and selling blueberry bushes or
That's
trees.
true,
Are they
yes.
bushes or trees?
I think bushes.
Bushes. So you can, and they're a good price. So you can buy them and grow blueberries locally here
Exactly.
in Central
Yes.
Kentucky. So
yes, local products.
yeah, if you're interested in that, contact the Washington County Extension Office. I'm sure they can help you.
I'm sure
or
we'll
the
be
new
able
pioneers
to hook you
can
up a
help
little
you.
bit. Yes,
Exactly.
or
Find out
contact Sister Claire with
Right.
the pioneers. So.
who that person was. But
Yeah.
all right, so we're going to make some blueberry French toast bake.
Yes, we sure are. So first, this is our baking dish that we'll use eventually, and we grease that. I just greased it with some margarine, so you can kind of use whatever you wish there. Then we're going to make sort of a combination, and this is a 1/4 cup of whole wheat flour and a 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour.
The different flours do different things, don't they?
Yes, and these can be combined for different textures. The whole wheat's going to have a little bit more fiber, which is good for your digestion. And the different types of flours, for example, an all-purpose versus the self-rising, have sort of different agents in it. So it's all a little bit different, and it depends on what you need in your recipe.
Right, so be sure to follow the recipe.
Yes. Now I just have a 1.5 cups of skim milk. We're going low fat, of course, good for our heart. Then you want just a little bit of sugar, it's just a tablespoon. We're going to get the sweetness with our berries, so we don't need too much. Then we have a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla.
That's good too.
It is,
I think it's good flavor.
yes. And you only need a little bit. A little bit goes a long way. A 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And then quite a few eggs we're using in this recipe. So we have 3 eggs. And we have 6 egg whites.
Okay. So 3 full eggs with the yolks, and 6 you had to take the yolk out.
That's right. And you can, I've seen people do that a number of different ways. Some people have little separators and strainers that they use, and then my mother always, I watched her just crack the egg and sort of sift it between the 2 shells. So that's my method.
Mother taught you well.
That's right. So we're just going to mix this up, and then we'll stir in the bread cubes after that.
Okay. So while you're doing that, while we're mixing our first combination there is what you called it, right? A combination?
Yes.
I have our little, each month we have this little jar full of conversation starter questions. You can contact Sabrina to get a list of these conversation starter questions. You can use them for your family dinners or for icebreakers for work or for whatever. And they kind of just are little questions that help you get to know the people that you're dealing with a little better. So we're going to give you a sample of this month's question that we have. And the question is, da-da-da, would you rather be a great musician, athlete, writer, artist, or scientist?
Oh, no. Those are good options.
Yeah, several of them.
I know. I think I've revealed my love of science on here. I think I would rather be a good scientist. There are so many innovations, and science covers such a broad range of things, so I'm going to choose that.
Okay, that sounds good. I'll say a writer, because I love writing. So, and if you can write, you can do anything.
That's true. I mean, the same goes with sort of artist. If you're a good artist, you can do a
Right.
lot of different things.
Absolutely.
So
Yes,
that's a
we've
tough
had that.
one.
That is a tough one, but a good question.
Yes.
Because it gets you to talk a little bit
That's
more.
right. And a
get
lot
to
of
know.
people say that our today's society, we don't know how to communicate very well. So maybe you have a few of these questions that you've just kind of memorized, and you just randomly ask someone to get a conversation going.
That's right.
So now that we have our mixture and it's all mixed up, we are going to add French bread. So I had a loaf of French bread, and you just cube it basically into about an inch. It doesn't have to be perfect. But we're just going to stir it in until these are coated. So I have some of these already done, and then I have some more to go. And this would be a good opportunity to get your children involved, because they don't necessarily have to use a knife for this process. You could sort of slice it and get them started, and then they could just simply tear it like so.
Break it up.
My loaf was a little bit big, so I won't use the entire thing. But like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect, and then they have a sense of pride, and maybe they'll even eat it more if they know what's in there.
Exactly. They know their hands got involved with
That's
it.
right.
So what kind of science is your favorite?
I would say how the body works, and especially how the brain works. Physiology is very interesting, and how it makes our personalities, how it explains some intuitive feelings that we recognize. For example, when people fall in love, there are neurotransmitters and chemicals released that give you those feelings, like dopamine would give you the feeling of joy. So it's literally science happening, but you're just feeling it.
So when they say you're being a dope, they're serious.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where they came from.
Exactly. It is interesting.
It is.
All different
It sort of
variables.
makes us who we are, and I think that's very
Exactly.
interesting.
Absolutely. And it also explains why we like to eat.
Yes, our body craves food. It needs it.
And there is science in baking and cooking as well, to a degree.
Absolutely. Yes, to a very big degree. So we have all of those coated, and we are just going to bring our baking dish in now and pour this in.
It's even like the flour they're talking about, the self-rising flour and stuff, that's scientifically
It is.
determined as to how it does that.
Right, there are chemical reactions happening there. Even when things brown, yeah, it's all science.
Caramelization, all that
Yep.
kind of stuff.
It's all science. So you're just going to kind of spread that as evenly as you can.
Looks good so far.
Yes, and then we are going to top it. This is cream cheese that we've sort of cut apart. So we're going to top it, try to do it evenly. And I've washed my hands, good food safety.
Cream cheese, huh? Mm-hmm. Sometimes you do get French toast with like a cream cheese filling in it and stuff. Okay.
That's true. So this dish would be pretty sweet. Of course, with your berries.
But it's a healthier option to some of the other stuff, and that's why it's a
Yes.
plated up recipe.
Yes, and we have good ingredients in there like our skim milk. Okay, so there's the cream cheese. We want to bring in our blueberries because that is the title of this recipe.
That's right, and you can potentially get them locally. Remember, contact New Pioneers for Sustainable Future office or the Washington Extension office, and they can
Yes,
possibly
we'll
help
find
you
out.
find out who is providing those local blueberry bushes. Or just go to the farmers markets in our 3 areas, and some people are possibly selling them as well if you don't want to grow them yourself.
That's right.
Just go buy them locally,
Just go buy them locally.
because the farmers markets in all 3 areas are starting up.
And speaking of local products, I don't have it out right now, but this recipe, after you bake it, there is an option to drizzle honey on top of it. And we've talked about honey and how it can be good for your allergies because it might be grown locally and you kind of build an immunity to things that you already are exposed to. So
Right.
there's another option.
Yes. And you definitely can get honey at several of the farmers markets.
Yes, for sure. And then I just have some almonds. I bought these sliced. You can sort of chop your own if you wish.
I love almonds.
Me too. Almonds and our nuts have good healthy fats. People think that fat is such a horrible thing. It really isn't in the right amount and the right kind. Has a lot of functions for your body.
It's like with cholesterol. Everybody thinks cholesterol is all bad, but there's half of it's actually good.
Yes. So there's your bad LDL cholesterol and your good HDL cholesterol. All right, so that is pretty much it for this stage. Then we're going to cover this and refrigerate it. It says for at least 1 hour, but no longer than 24 hours. So you don't want to leave it in there for days, but at least 1 hour to sort of let things blend. Then you're just going to heat it at 400, well, heat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit and uncover it and bake it for 20 to 25 minutes or until it's golden brown. And then at that point you can bring your honey in and drizzle it if you wish, if you like honey.
Great. And you have your blueberry French toast bake. You can get a copy of the recipe by contacting Cabrina here at the Washington County Extension Office or Marion or Nelson County Extension offices, and they'll help you with them as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, this has been Gary White for Central Kentucky Television.